is the founding father of capitalism. He's an economist, an 18th century money man from Edinburgh. His nephew is buried in the Canongate graveyard. Smith's nephew's name was Ebenezer Lennox Scrooge. Aye, seriously. Scrooge! Scrooge! It's meant to be a huge revelation for you folks. He was a real guy. So Ebenezer Scrooge, buried down in the Canongate graveyard, Dickens saw the gravestone. It said, "Here lies Ebenezer Scrooge, a mean man." Mean man. You know already. Doesn't have to be anything special. Just go, oh, here we go. You're a natural. Fantastic, Andrew. Oh, fantastic. I read a book, Andrew. Did you enjoy that? No. Well, I can't blame you. This is one of my favourite things to do, though. It's called dancing on people's graves. Great philosopher. That little piece of our history there, the loss of independence, and then the riot in 1736. We call this the Great Wait. 30 years in Edinburgh where everyone got drunk all the time and complained about not being independent. Laughing at it. Out of that sadness comes the Scottish Enlightenment, led by David Hume. He told the 18th century. He's my hero from our past. It's a man called William Brodie. He's got a pub named after him just here, Deacon Brodie's Tavern. We're not going to the pub, sir. You go to the pub on your own time. Okay? What we're going to do is take a little walk along towards the graveyard, and as we go, I will tell you a bit about the story of Brodie. You'll see why he's my hero. He might be your hero as well. He was a daft. He spent 8 months in Amsterdam. He was the most wanted man in the entire world. And they arrested him. They caught him as he's getting on a boat to go from Amsterdam to the same place that all Scottish criminals go. America. He had a ticket in his hand to America. He was so close to freedom, but he was arrested, dragged back here to Edinburgh. Guys are all pretty handsome, you know, but even if you roll them all together, you'll end up with somebody almost as handsome, but not quite, as the ghost will hopefully see this evening in the Pauper's Graveyard. The Pauper's Graveyard is the area beyond the fence here, and that's what we're going to walk along the top of at the moment, across some mausoleums. Don't worry too much about walking on coffins while you're up here. There's over 200,000 people buried in this graveyard. Once you've been,
because the dead bodies can't get out.
So the dead can't get out. Close, it's because people were dying to get in. We're dying to get into the graveyard.
I told them to come here.
Try and keep up, guys. It's not best material I'm giving you here, okay? They actually built to keep out the English. I've got to say, it doesn't appear to be doing a very good job, does it? So back in 1513, the Queen of France sent a letter to King James IV of Scotland. The letter said, "We must crush and destroy the dreaded English." It seemed like a great idea, and so Scotland went to war. The very first man to die in the war, King James IV of Scotland. He had never, don't laugh at that, man, that's our king we're speaking about here. James IV had never been in a fight in his life, and at the Battle of Flodden, he decided to lead his men running down the hill into a swamp. It's got whiskey in it, you know, more than one from me. It's not the story I have to tell you while we're inside here, though. The story I have to tell you while we're inside this vault today is, in fact, the story of Nidri's Wine's laziest man. Now, I must confess, I'm a bit of a lazy bastard myself, eh? So I've always liked this story. The man's name is Alexander, and Alexander is originally not from Edinburgh. He is from a town called Haddington, just outside the city. Now, he was born there in 1480, which makes this the oldest story I think I've told you on the tour today.